Well, you're here because you filled out a survey about a guy and he scored a C. In many important ways, this guy is falling short. Welcome to the Strong Brew, where you get answers to questions you're not supposed to ask. These are some things you may want to know about the man in your life. If you do really well in your career, will he become insecure? Will he try and use money to control you? Will he share housework or just make you do it all? In fights, when he gets angry, does he get aggressive? During intimacy, does he understand that no means no? Is he jealous, suspicious, or possessive? Will his attitude towards you change after having kids? Will he treat your parents with respect? What if you have conflicts with his parents? We tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. These are things nobody else will tell you, things that are important for your future. This is a safe space for truth. No judgment, no platitudes, no login, no payment either. Our questions are from real life, but our answers come from science. Now, I built this thing, me and my husband, and honestly, we built it and we live it. We are both Stanford grads, we both have worked at Google, and we've been happily together since 1998. Along the way, we've added a son, now 13, and 4 dogs. We are genuine folks. If you're a woman trying to understand any man in your life, here is how it works. Go to www.thestrongbrew.life. Click on the Understand a Guy button there. Answer 10 questions about him. Watch a video tailored to your guy. That's all there is to it. It is completely anonymous, no login, no payment, no games, no manipulation. This analysis is obtained by combining solid trait psychology with cutting edge AI ML. We represent each person's personality with what is known as a feature vector. This has 10 elements, so our data is effectively 10 dimensional data. In case you're wondering how we can infer so much from just 10 questions, well, 10 dimensional data is very complex. There is a lot you can learn from that level of detail.
Okay, I think that does it for the preamble. Now let's plunge in. Let's start with this guy in his career. Will he go far or just talk big?
He's unlikely to go far in his career, and if he ever talks big, it's mostly just words, not action. He doesn't put much energy or effort into his work, and he easily steps back when things get tough. Chances are he'll prefer playing it safe rather than grabbing big opportunities.
Can he bounce back from failure?
When things go wrong at work, he's likely to step away rather than face the problem. Instead of bouncing back, he'll withdraw and try to avoid dealing with tough situations. He doesn't like confronting issues and may even wait for others to fix things instead of taking action.
What do people at work think of him? Do they like him?
Most people at work probably don't take much notice of him. He's quiet and keeps to himself, so he's not the type to get into fights. But he also doesn't go out of his way to make friends or earn respect. He rarely speaks up, avoids disagreements, and lets others lead the way.
If you do really well in your career, will he become insecure?
If you do really well in your career, he is unlikely to feel proud or celebrate your success. At the same time, he probably won't act out of jealousy or try to compete with you. It's possible he'll avoid talking about it, making you feel like your happiness isn't shared.
What if you start earning more than him?
He's unlikely to resent you or feel deeply insecure if you earn more than him. Mostly, he will just keep quiet about it, avoiding any conversation on the topic. You might feel alone with your success, wishing he cared more or showed some enthusiasm.
Next, let's talk about how he is with money. Does he overspend? Is he reckless with money?
He's not the kind to spend wildly, but he's also not careful or thoughtful with money. Instead, he often ignores money matters altogether and just lets things happen on their own. If you ask him about finances, he might shrug or avoid the conversation, leaving you to handle things.
Does he show off and pretend to be richer than he is?
He usually lives within his means and doesn't try to look richer than he is. You won't see him showing off, buying flashy things, or putting on a big act to impress others. He tends to avoid attention and keeps a simple lifestyle, not worrying much about what others think.
Is he too generous, too stingy, or just right?
He's not really open handed or especially kind, But he isn't harsh or overly tight with money either. He tends to be quiet about giving and doesn't show much warmth or generosity, whether with money or with his feelings. He won't be openly stingy, but he also won't make you feel cherished or looked after.
Will he use money to try and control you?
He's not secretive or controlling about money, but he's also not very open or active in sharing details. Most of the time, he simply doesn't care enough to discuss money, leaving things vague and unplanned. If you ask him questions, he might avoid answering directly or say he doesn't know.
Let's see how this guy is with sharing housework. Will he share housework or just make you do it?
He's unlikely to speak up about housework at all, preferring to avoid the topic. Most of the time, he won't offer to help or set clear rules. He just stays quiet and expects things to run as they usually do. He doesn't push old fashioned ideas, but he also doesn't take ownership or share the load.
Will he help you or just boss you around and tell you what to do?
He's not the kind who actively helps with chores or takes care of diapers. Instead, he's more likely to step back and watch, maybe saying he'll help, but mostly leaving the work to you. Expect quiet supervision or him sitting nearby, not real teamwork or hands on effort.
Now let's see about how this guy is during fights. In fights, does he try to understand your views or just win the fight?
He doesn't usually argue or try hard to prove he's right. Instead, when you express your feelings, he tends to listen quietly, but may not say much or show that he understands. He rarely tries to put himself in your shoes or talk things through in depth.
Does he become aggressive when angry?
When he's angry, he's more likely to keep silent and walk away rather than say hurtful things or act aggressive. You probably won't see shouting, name calling, or angry outbursts from him. While this keeps the peace, it can also make you feel distant and unheard during tough times.
Does he have a bad temper?
No, he doesn't get angry quickly. His temper is more steady and quiet. If things upset him, he won't lose control or lash out. Instead, he just pulls away and keeps his feelings to himself. You might feel as if your concerns are ignored rather than solved.
Will he say sorry and accept his mistakes?
He doesn't blame you when things go wrong, but he also doesn't often say sorry or take clear responsibility. If you point out a mistake, he'll likely stay quiet and avoid the topic rather than admit he was wrong or apologize. Mostly, he prefers to let things slide and move on quietly.
Next, let's talk about intimacy and physical chemistry. During intimacy, does he respect your boundaries? Does he get that no means no?
Yes, he's the type who will respect your boundaries and understands that no means no. He's not pushy or forceful, so if you say you're not comfortable with something, he's likely to step back and leave you alone without pressing the issue. You won't have to worry about him ignoring your wishes or repeatedly trying to change your mind.
If you are not in the mood for intimacy, will he react badly?
No, he doesn't take it personally if you're not in the mood for intimacy. If you say you're not interested, he'll likely accept it quietly and won't get upset or make you feel guilty. You won't have to worry about him making you uncomfortable or turning things into a big issue.
Can you trust him not to shame you or share your private moments, maybe love letters, photos, or videos, even after a breakup or a bad fight?
Yes, you can trust him to handle private moments with care. He's not the type to use anything you share or experience together to hurt or embarrass you later. With him, your secrets and special moments are safe. They won't be turned against you or put on display for others.
Is he loyal or is he likely to want to have affairs?
He's generally faithful and not easily distracted by other women. He tends to keep to himself and doesn't seek attention or excitement from others outside the relationship. If loyalty is important to you, his nature is to stick to what he knows rather than wander.
Will he be jealous, suspicious, and try to control you?
No, he's not over possessive or controlling. He rarely acts jealous or suspicious, and he doesn't monitor your actions or try to limit your freedom. You won't face constant questions or controlling behavior with him.
This guy says he is protective in a good way. Is he actually just being possessive?
No, his protective nature is not a sign of a controlling personality. In fact, he's not very protective at all. He prefers to stay quiet and apart. letting you handle things on your own. There's no risk of him using care as a way to control you.
Now, onto the topic of kids and how this guy will be as a father. If you guys have kids, will he make you do most of the work?
He's likely to expect you to do most of the work when it comes to parenting rather than seeing it as a team effort. He doesn't step forward to share responsibilities or work together. Instead, he stays passive and lets you handle daily tasks, decisions, and challenges. You may find yourself carrying the load and wishing he'd join in more.
Kids are very messy. Will he lose his temper with them?
When the kids mess up or get upset, he will stay calm and not lose his temper. He doesn't yell or get angry easily. Instead, he tends to step back and keep quiet rather than react strongly. You may wish he got more involved, but his calmness is good for keeping peace at home.
If you guys have kids, will he still support your career?
He's unlikely to actively support your role as both a mother and your own person. He doesn't get in your way or make things harder, but he also won't step up to cheer you on or help you balance motherhood with your personal goals. You'll often feel like you're handling things alone without much encouragement or recognition from him.
Will this man say one thing early on, maybe while dating, and then later, after kids and marriage, change his tune and try to make you give up your career?
No, he's not the kind of man who will support your career now only to ask you to quit after you have a child. He doesn't push for big changes or try to control your choices, whether it's about work or family. If you're worried about hidden pressures or sudden demands later on, with him, that's not a real risk.
Next, let's see how this guy treats your parents. Will he be respectful with your parents?
He's likely to act polite on the surface rather than show real warmth to your parents. You'll notice him being quiet and reserved when they're around, not starting conversations or expressing much emotion. You'll need to lead the way in creating warmth as he tends to keep things simple and avoids deep involvement. He's not likely to expect your family to change for him, but he also won't put in much effort to adjust to them either.
What if your family creates stress or interferes a bit in your lives?
If your family creates stress or interferes, he will handle it calmly by stepping back and avoiding drama. He won't raise his voice or start arguments, but he also won't step in to fix things or support you directly. Instead, he keeps quiet, hoping the problem will fade on its own.
Then let's analyze the role this guy's family will play in your life. Is this man modern with you, but a completely different person when other people, say his parents or bosses, are around?
No, he isn't the kind to act modern with you and then suddenly expect you to be a traditional supportive wife in front of his relatives. He usually avoids making rules, giving orders, or pushing you to look or behave a certain way for others. You won't feel pressed to act differently or follow customs just to please his family.
If there is tension between you and his parents, will he support you?
If there's tension, he will most likely stay out of it rather than support you or side with his family. He prefers to avoid conflict and keeps quiet when things get tricky. If you want support during stressful times, be prepared to handle the challenges mostly on your own.
Say you have a conflict with his mother, what will this guy do?
He isn't likely to be a mummy's boy, but he also won't clearly choose your side in a conflict with his mother. Instead, he prefers to step away quietly and let the situation sort itself out. He dislikes confrontation with anyone, so he avoids taking sides altogether.
Will he share all the private details of your relationship with his mother or sister?
No, he isn't the type to share every detail of your fights or private life with his mother or sister. He tends to keep things to himself and doesn't talk much about personal matters, even with family. You won't have to worry about others knowing your business, but you may wish he shared more or got help when things are tough.
Now let's zoom out and put it all together.
So that's the story. This guy scores a C. In many important ways, this guy is falling short of the standard we would want. Being in a relationship with this man feels quiet and mostly uneventful, with little drama or excitement. Most days you'll handle things on your own because he keeps to himself and doesn't step up much to help or share feelings.